Gather round, gather round. My name is Uncle Ron. You've landed on my porch. Grab a chair, have a seat, get some coffee or some cold brew. Let's have a conversation about how you can grow your business using organic digital marketing methods. I am here to give you the tips, tricks, and cheat codes that I personally use every single day in running and growing my businesses from smack dab in the middle of Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. This week, we have been talking about storytelling. We started with talking about how it allows you to make that emotional connection with the reader or the viewer. We talked about how you need to create a hook that is going to capture that consumer's attention. You are going to create an open-ended, unanswered question that requires resolution for that consumer to have peace. It is going to present a big problem, one golden thread that ties your story together. You may have many smaller problems that are associated with that story, but your one big problem is going to tie it all together. We are going to have a struggle that takes our hero through a process. This is where Luke Skywalker learns to use the Force, and Yoda is your business and your product or service. You are not the hero. That consumer is. But what you're doing in that moment is you are creating a struggle that the consumer can relate to. They need to find that resolution that came from the hook. They need to understand how they can have the transformation that comes from the struggle for themselves. This is how you create that emotional connection, that rapport with that reader, that consumer, that makes them need to do business with your product or service or your business. I told you earlier this week that I have a customer named Wayne who experienced a house fire. The reason that he got out of his house was because his puppy dog awoke him in the middle of the night. That puppy dog was beloved before the fire, and now it is absolutely the biggest piece of that family. It is the hero of that story. But what happened in that story is Wayne had his house rebuilt. He's had his life put back together. More importantly than that is that Wayne has gone on a crusade. I told you earlier this week that the fire in his house emanated in his garage. And the fire was started by the battery charger that was in his garage. It ignited and shot flames up the wall, which took hold and started to envelop the house. Wayne, as a result of this, has talked to anyone who will listen to him about unplugging those battery chargers in your house before you go to bed. Because ultimately, it has come to his attention as a result of his journey, his transformation, his struggle of rebuilding his house, that these battery chargers create complications. They can create fires in houses. The numbers are actually much bigger than either of us realized when he started digging into this problem. What he has done is he has taken this transformational process and he is now on a crusade to tell other people to unplug those battery chargers when not actively in use so that they don't create a problem that he experienced. That has become the moral of the story for Wayne. Every story that we tell has a meaning. It may not be philosophical, but there will at least be a psychological meaning for the consumer. For Wayne, the struggle allowed him to know that ultimately his life was put back together, and he is a customer for life. He's told me that. He said there's nothing that we can do to push him away. More importantly than understanding that he is a customer for life, he now has a crusade that he is on. The moral of the story is the meaning we make of the resolution. For your reader, that resolution may be one thing, but for Wayne, the resolution was not only to tell others about how well he was treated in the process, but it was also to unplug those battery chargers. It allows him to show the resolution of the story's problem and the struggle that he experienced. In the last 20 months, while he's had his house put back together, he's now living in his fourth temporary shelter place. That's a struggle, but do you know what's not happened? The battery chargers have not been plugged up when he's not paying attention so that they cannot catch fire. This is where you can tie in the value that your product and service provides in that transformational process. This moral of the story can help compel the consumer to use your resolution of the process to obtain that transformation that they seek in their own life. None of us want to experience a house fire. And we can use the story of the batteries and the charging station to help them understand how to avoid it. But we can also show them that if something does go amiss, they have a path to safety and security. That is where we tie all of this together. We bring them into that resolution. We bring them into the moral and the meaning that we have placed with this story so that they can enhance and improve and transform their life to where they want to be. This is how you extend your story. You create that call to action. You bring them in and you ultimately get the sale. Because at this point, the sale is not about the price. It's about the transformation that occurs. They want that for themselves. They need Yoda's force so that they can solve their own Luke Skywalker problem and defeat the evil empire. I'm Uncle Ron. You've been on my porch this week. We've gone deeper in storytelling, how to deploy it, how to use it, and how to use it as your own force for good. If you're not on the email list, I compel you to get there now. Open up a browser window, type in bit.ly/porch, capitalize the P in porch. Give me your first name, your best email. I'm going to drop an email in your inbox tomorrow morning that will help you better understand everything we've talked about this week. It will give you a link to the episode, and it will help you deploy this in a concise way. I appreciate you listening and tuning in on the porch this week. I hope you have a great weekend. We'll see you here next week.